Hello and welcome back and welcome to our finally finished ensuite bathroom. This video has been a long time coming because this has been quite a challenging part of our build. We had quite a small space that we were working with as the upstairs of our extension. As you'll know if you've watched some of my other videos, we had to come in a metre from the side, which left us with this 1.5 metre less, around about 1.5 metre space, so it wasn't really big enough for a bedroom, so we actually ummed and ahed about whether or not to come up at all, but we decided to in the end by going out the back, and then that gave us this space along the side, and it was actually in the end the perfect size for an ensuite, but still quite small. So we struggled for a long time with the design of this, but eventually we came up with an ingenious way to fit everything in, which I will share with you in a minute. But first of all, I just wanted to talk you around each element of the bathroom, how we made it all come together, where we sourced our products, and which bits of it we did ourselves as DIY, and which bits of it we left to professionals, or my dad in this case. So the shower is a good place to start. Now, we went for a rainfall shower system. The one we've gone for is from Grower. There's various ones on the market and they start from around £500, so they're quite an extravagance in terms of your bathroom, but for us we feel like this is the defining feature of this room. Really, it really makes it. They're kind of designed to give you the spa sanctuary feel, touch of luxury, and then some of them mimic rainfall itself. It sounds like rainfall. This one we've got is a smart one. It's got these smart controls where you can turn it to different settings. You can turn up the pressure, down the pressure. You can have different rainfalls, I suppose, effectively. So it's really nice. The kids seem to like it. Sometimes kids don't like showers, so it's nice that you can set it soft enough that small children are okay and happy in it as well. So we're really pleased with that. Obviously, to complement that, we've got the shower screen, and the shower screen was £91 from a shop called Furniture 123, an online shop, and that's quite good for a few little bits actually, but we thought that was a reasonable value, reasonable price. Looked around a bit for those, and it fits in well with everything else that we've got in here as well. So that takes us down to the shower tray. Now this was £230 from Victoria Plumbing. Once again, we had a good look around for these. That wasn't the cheapest we could find, but certainly wasn't the most expensive. You could easily spend kind of 400 quid on these. And there were ones that went with our kind of grey colour of the room and did look really nice, but eventually we just thought it wasn't worth splashing out too much money on. And actually, this looks absolutely fine. We're really pleased with it. It's fine. So we're glad we didn't spend too much there. Now, I suppose the next thing to talk about is the tiles and the tiling job itself. So we took on the tiling ourselves for our sins. We have done a bit of tiling before. We did some tiling when we first moved into the house. We tiled our old bathroom, which involved a lot fewer tiles, and we also tiled the kitchen downstairs. So we thought, yeah, we'll be absolutely fine to do this. And I suppose the defining moment of this tiling project was actually finding some really good value tiles. So we looked around a lot, once again, saw some lovely tiles that we fell in love with, but priced it up and it was coming out around £400 to £500 to tile the room, which we just felt was too much for the house. So eventually we found these tiles from Selco, and it cost us around, we priced it up and it was about £180, and that was to actually tile a lot more of the room than we were originally planning on doing. So that suddenly we created for ourselves a much bigger tiling job, which was challenging. It took us a lot longer than we expected. I think one mistake probably a lot of DIY tilers make is to think that a small room equals a small job, and that's not the case at all, because the really difficult bits of the job are the corners, the window sills, making all those cuts, taking all those measurements. Actually laying more tiles in between those cuts isn't really that much more work. That's not where your time load's coming. And for us as well, we had to have the tile cutting machine outside in the garden round a corner, so it was a bit of a trek. Every time we wanted to cut a tile, we had to go all the way downstairs, out the side door, around the back, so it was quite labour intensive. It definitely wasn't a lean approach. And we also had the fact that when we had the tiling machine out, the tile cutter out, we didn't really want the kids around. It was one of those jobs where you had to really concentrate, so I often just had to get the kids out of the house and leave Stephen to do it on his own. I helped with the measuring and deciding where the tiles could go and the layout, and to be honest, that in itself takes quite a lot of time as well. But we did do it, and we saved loads of money, of course, doing it as well. But I think it's just having realistic expectations when you start about how long it's going to take. Anyway, it is done, and we are really pleased with it. We obviously did the painting ourselves. So in terms of small bathroom practice, maximising the space, we actually naturally did go for a lot of the practices that help to do that. In here we went for the big tiles, and that does help it to feel more spacious and look more spacious. Also, having this scope right up to the high ceiling that we've got in here, that really helped as well, because we ended up tiling right up to the ceiling, and that really helps to give it a really airy, spacious feel in here. And going for the white as well, that obviously makes it lighter and brighter, and that helps as well. So we've got a couple of plants actually that I'll just mention because they've caught my eye. We've got the Boston fern. I've talked about that in a previous video. That arrived the other week, and this is a great fern for keeping the moisture levels down in here, so it's particularly recommended for bathrooms. This one here is just a bit of foliage. Not sure that even had a name on it when we got it actually, but that just adds a little bit of colour into the room. So another thing that's helped this bathroom to feel really spacious is the low profile basin and toilet that we've got. We've got a wall hung toilet, and we've got this basin here as well that's wall hung. So they're amazing because they make it really easy to clean the room, because you don't have all of that contact with the floor that you've got to get around and behind. So you can just quickly and easily mop the bathroom, which is massive thumbs up from me. But it also, I was really worried when we had this room that once we put the toilet in the basin, it would start to feel really cramped. But actually, because they're wall hung, it really helps add to the spacious feel. So I would definitely recommend them if you can get hold of them for a smaller space. Because it's a wall hung toilet, a lot of the plumbing for the toilet was actually in the wall itself, and we were starting from scratch with the whole wall and the whole setup. And so we had the opportunity to put this cabinet into the wall. So we found this one, and this was £80 from Rick's. To be honest, it was a bit of a pain getting it into the wall. The mistake that we made was forgetting to set it slightly out, because then it's quite difficult to open initially. Obviously, if you set it completely into the wall, you can't actually get a grip on it to open it. So that was a bit of a schoolboy error, but we sorted that out. That's working now. We've got this nice towel rail. It was £40 from Selco, so that's a fairly basic one. There are some really nice ones out there. Follow various companies on Instagram. I'm denied about splashing out on a pricey one. But actually, once again, for the house, we thought that was totally adequate. It wasn't an area where we wanted to spend a massive amount of money. We have got underfloor heating in here, so that was something that added to the overall cost of the room. But I think people never regret underfloor heating. We had underfloor heating in our last bathroom, so I think it would have been really hard not to have it in here. So other little expenses in here were things like the tilet trim, which came to £60 altogether. So the tiles were actually £14 for a box of 8 from Selco. We did find them in various other places, because I think they've now run out of these in Selco, but we have seen them in places like Homebase for a similar price, very similar tiles, and obviously the adhesive and the labour, but because we did that ourselves, that was free, although emotionally it was quite costly. So that's a whistle-stop tour of the bathroom, but what was the thing that we did to maximise the space in here that was a bit of a crazy idea we had as we went along? So I promised to tell you the ingenious plan that we came up with to maximise the space we had for this ensuite. And here's what we did. I'm just going to come to the top of the stairs now. So I've come to the top of the stairs, and basically here behind me is the knock-through space from the previous house to the extension. So the extension starts here. This is how we get into it. Now, if you turn right here, this in there is the new bathroom, and the natural door for the new bathroom would start here, and that would be the back wall of the bathroom, which would have given us space for about a 1500 shower tray. Now, we had a look at those, and we didn't really feel like they were going to be big enough. We thought it would be pokey, it would be difficult not to end up with water all over the rest of the bathroom, and we just weren't really that happy about it. So we left the bathroom for a little while, and we undenied about what to do about it, how to configure it. We obviously had things like the window, meaning that we couldn't really put the shower in front of there, so we didn't have that many choices of how we were going to design it and lay it out. But then we had the idea to actually kick this space back to create a bit of an L shape into the hallway. So here in this hallway, we were planning on putting cupboards anyway. We've obviously got the solar tank here. We were going to have an airing cupboard the rest of the way along, and then we just had the walk space into the new bedroom. So it doesn't make too much difference. We thought perhaps it'll look a bit odd, but in actual fact, that's just going to be in line with the rest of the cupboards there anyway. And it's given us that extra space, about 34 centimetres to work with, so that we could have a 1700 shower tray in there instead of a 1500, and it has made all the difference. So that was our little genius hack that helped us to create a much more useful space in our extension. So if you're doing something similar, could be something that you could think about as well. And one other ingenious idea we had to make the most of this space was to do with the door. Now we thought about putting a door across here and a door across the bathroom, and it all started to get a bit tricky, and obviously because we've got this funny little bit that we've created to work with, we started to measure it up, spoke to carpenters we know, Rob and Clevitt, and worked out what we could do is have one door to serve two purposes. So we're going to have a door that comes from about halfway across here, and it works to close the bathroom, but it also opens up to act as a door for this space as well. So that means that once you're inside the space, the new wing, if you like, you can obviously have the privacy using the bathroom, but it also means that we can close the whole space off itself as well without having to have that kind of awkward two-door setup. So we haven't done that ourselves because it's definitely not a DIY job, definitely for a very experienced carpenter. But once we've done that, I will show it to you and share it with you. So that's it, that's our small bathroom complete. And it was a bit of a challenge getting some of those details completed and decided even, but we got there in the end and we completed it on budget and perhaps not on time, but within reasonable time. We did it, we're still recovering from the tiling to be honest, but all's well that ends well, and we are really pleased with the end result. If you like this video, as always, please do give it a thumbs up. Please let me know what you think of our new bathroom in the comments below. Any questions? I think I've covered it in reasonable detail, but if I missed anything out, please do ask me. And of course, don't forget to subscribe and come back soon. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye for now.